Hi, all, and welcome back to a world of bookish adventures. My name is Shannon.
And I'm Amanda, and we are excited to share with you today's podcast. This week, we are visiting the gorgeous island known for shamrocks, beer, and 40 Shades of Green, Ireland. More
Yay,
specifically,
Ireland!
yes. More specifically, we are headed to Dublin to check out the Trinity College Library and the priceless Book of Kells.
I know I have been so excited for this podcast because both Amanda and I have been to the Trinity Library and we've been to see the Book of Kells. Now, we haven't been together, we went separately, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be kind of neat to talk about our own experiences. So, for me, this was one of my stops during my European adventures that I've been sharing with you guys this past summer. I was in London and then flew to meet my friend in Dublin, and where we were staying was like a real short 15-minute walk from our hotel to the Trinity Library. So that was really nice just to kind of go. If you've ever been to Dublin, it's a very walkable city. And so we spent the day and we walked over there to experience this. So, how about you, Amanda? What brought you to Dublin?
I actually went when I was getting my master's degree. We had the opportunity, the students, had the opportunity to do a study abroad program for housing and homelessness. So, as I've said before, I am a social worker. So, I actually got into social work because I was very passionate about ending homelessness as we know it. So, Ireland has actually taken great strides to end homelessness in their country. So, I went over there as part of a study abroad program. So, part of it was to study the Irish history. So, we actually got to stay in Trinity College. So, it was absolutely amazing. It was just an incredible, could not put a price on it experience. I mean, USF absolutely did put a price on it, but mentally, emotionally, could not put a price on it.
And that's so cool because when I was there, again, I was being a touristy, so I was at the Hilton, a couple blocks away. But the closest I got to actually going into the college, with the exception of obviously the library, was it started pouring rain. As I learned from being in Ireland, it is not a joke about the rain showers that just
Mm-hmm.
randomly will happen throughout the day. So we all ran into what I guess would have been considered maybe like their food court or their eating area, hangout area. So all of us just ran in there and just sort of hung out while we were waiting for the storm to pass. So that's the closest I got to going into the college outside of the library.
Okay, yeah. I was very, very lucky. I actually got to stay on campus with the other students for a couple of weeks. It was a full summer program, but most of the learning took place here in Florida, and then we stayed in Ireland for 2 weeks for the final 2 weeks of the semester. So part of it was, getting to be there and experience, all of the amazing things that Ireland has to offer. So, as I'm sure you did as well, people can check out on YouTube. I have pictures of the Cliffs of Moher and some cool touristy pictures of me being a leprechaun and all kinds of cool stuff. And of course, picture of me in the long room in the Trinity College Library because why not?
Oh, you know what? And we'll definitely share those pictures. And interesting, I was there during the 4th of July. And did you know, fun fact, there is a town in Ireland that celebrates the 4th of July. Think of us like celebrating like St. Patrick's Day over here or something
Yeah.
like that. This town thought the 4th of July was so cool that, and I'll see if I can find pictures, and if so, I'll put them on YouTube, that this town in Ireland decks out red, white, and blue flags. People dress up like cowboys. They do have beer and they just totally celebrate the 4th of July. So I just, Irish, they're cool. They're my people. They're cool people.
They really are. You can say what you want about the Irish. They know how to throw a party. They really, truly do.
They They totally, totally know how to throw a party. So yay. So before we get into our impressions and our experiences, Amanda and I just wanted to give you a little bit of history, just in case this is new to you. So the Trinity College Library was founded in 1592, which was the same year as Trinity College itself. The library is most famous to the library in 1661 by Henry Jones. Now, the old library at Trinity College was designed by Thomas Berg, and that was completed in 1732. And as Amanda referenced, the long room, which is incredible. And I cannot wait to talk about that and show you guys pictures of that. That room houses over 200,000 historical books, and it also includes an 800 AD manuscript of the Book of Kells as well. So it's history, and around it, just the buildings itself, you can tell it has such a long history the way it looks. Amanda, you want to share a little bit about the Book of Kells?
Absolutely. So it's gorgeous. Unfortunately, we don't have any pictures of it because you can't take photos of it. And I may or may not have learned, cannot confirm or deny. If you try to sneak a picture, you will get yelled at, and cannot confirm or deny if that happened to me. But so we don't have any pictures of that to share. But the Book of Kells is absolutely gorgeous. It's an illuminated manuscript. Okay, so it's very well illustrated, incredibly detailed. An illuminated manuscript and Celtic gospel book in Latin. So it has all four gospels of the New Testament and other texts as well. And it's all, all put together. So it comes from a Columban monastery from either Ireland or Scotland, and could have had contributions from either of these areas. So it's not entirely clear, but we know it's from that area of the world. So it is believed to have originated around 800 AD. And the text of the Gospels is largely drawn from the Vulgate, although it also includes several passages drawn from earlier versions of the Bible, known as, I'm probably going to say this incorrectly, the Vetus Latina. I don't know, Shannon, do you think I got that right?
I'm going to say you got that right.
Okay. Yeah, maybe some of our listeners that might be better at Latin could help me with that. But anyway, so that just gives you a little bit of the idea of the history. So it's regarded as a masterwork of Western calligraphy. So like I said, it's absolutely incredible to look at. And the pinnacle, of insular illumination. So the manuscript actually gets its name from the Abbey of Kells. So Abbey is just another name for church, the county of Meath, which was its home for centuries.
And as you said, Amanda, it's just amazing. The illustrations and the ornamentation of this book really surpass any others in its extravagance and its complexity. It has decoration that combines traditional Christian iconography with the ornate swirling motifs that maybe some of us are familiar with some of the older works of art and books that we've seen. It has figures of humans and animals and mythical beasts, and it has Celtic knots and interlacing patterns of vibrant colors. And all of these are just enliven the manuscript pages. So you kind of feel like when you're looking at it, you're not looking at a book. You almost feel like, I don't know if you would agree with me, Amanda, but you almost feel like you're looking at some works of art.
Oh, absolutely. And not to be trivial about it, but when I was there and went to the gift shop, they actually had a Book of Kells coloring book, and totally got it. So you can color in all the different figures and animals and Celtic drawings and knots and braids and who knows what else. So if you think about like how long it takes to color in something like that, can you imagine how long it would take people just to come up with these original illustrations and how incredibly detailed they are? So when you say, oh, it's a work of art, oh my gosh, absolutely. I can't imagine the just the amount of time that has to go into a single page, let alone the entire manuscript. So the manuscript as we know it today has about 340 leaves, and the total amount of pages, so all leaves combined, is about 680 pages. So since 1953, it has been bound in 4 different volumes and is about 13 inches by 9.8 inches. So the leaves are made of high quality calf vellum, and the ornamentation includes 10 full page illustrations, and the text pages are vibrant with decorated initials. And if you were to look at them, it's like this bright metallic looking gold ink. It's hard to really describe other than that. It's just like a goldish color. It looks very shiny. Again, not to be trivial about it, but Shannon, do you remember when we were kids, like way back in the 90s, those like sparkly gel pens were a thing?
Oh, I definitely remember the sparkly gel pens. Yep.
Okay, so can you imagine that in gold?
Yeah, I think that's a great description
Okay, I'm not
of
crazy,
it. Yeah,
right?
no, no,
Like,
no. I'm on your train, and I'm agreeing with the destination. I think that's a great description of it.
okay, so that's when they're talking about the decorated initials. That's kind of the best way I could think of to describe it, since we don't have pictures to share, although Google might. So they think that this was the work of multiple different scribes, and the lettering comes from iron gall ink, and the colors used were derived from a wide range of substances, some of which were imported from lands very distant from Ireland and Scotland. So it could have been from any number of places around the world to get all those different colors that we see in the pages.
And as Amanda shared, the manuscript is on display to the visitors at the Trinity College Library in Dublin, but it shows only 2 pages at a time, and they rotate those pages every 12 weeks. So it constantly is changing. Now, there is a digital version of this online, and so we will share that link with everybody. And one of the things you said, now, I'm wondering, as you were sharing, Amanda, if maybe our experiences were a little different. So you went quite a while ago. With me going this summer, when you go in to see the Book of Kells, you actually walk into, I would say it's almost like a museum room,
Mm-hmm.
and so you had that. So what they
Yes.
have in the museum room is like pictures of the Book of Kells. So while you're not necessarily seeing the full manuscript, they do have small, and then they blew them up to big boards of the pictures and the alphabet. They have a picture, and I'll show you these pictures that I have and ones that Amanda has on YouTube. And even like how you talked about the Cal film and what that was made out of, they show the whole process of how they used, the calf vellum for the making of the papers to, make the book. And so that process is really laid out. And what's also really nice is with your ticket, you get a free audio tour. There's an app that you can get on your phone. And unlike my experiences in Switzerland, at the Abbey Library, this is Bluetooth friendly, and you don't need to plug in headphones for that. But each station has a narrative tour. So it's telling you what you're looking at, which I absolutely appreciate when our libraries and museums do this, because I think you get so much more out of it other than just appreciation for what you're seeing when you're hearing the background about it as well.
And now that you mention the room, I have a vague memory of it, but I may have done the audio tour and just don't remember. So I'm going to have to take your word on that. I honestly don't remember.
And I may or may not have also been yelled at by a very on top of their guard security guard when
Mm-hmm.
I was there as well. So what happens, at least the way it is now, what happens is, so let's go back. So to get to the Book of Kells, you need to buy a ticket, first of
Right.
all. And my recommendation to our listeners, if you're going to Dublin and you want to go to the Trinity Library and see the Book of Kells, is purchase your tickets ahead of time. My friend and I were not always on the ball with doing things ahead of time, and we didn't. And so we showed up to see the Book of Kells, and they were totally sold out for the day. And we had already made plans. We were going to the Cliffs of Moher and doing some other things throughout our time there. So this was really the only day that we had set aside to do this. But thankfully, we had a really nice person who was working there, and she told us just to hang around, that as it gets to the end of each hour, if people haven't shown up, then they will re-release those tickets and then you can buy tickets to get in. So we hung around, we waited, we checked in. Sure enough, people hadn't shown up. So we were able to get in. So we were very, very lucky. Don't, don't think that's going to work for everybody. So definitely recommend purchasing your tickets ahead of time. So when you go in, you're in the book at the room, you're listening to the audio tour, and it's this kind of maze. You're kind of walking through a maze of the books and the different artist work. And then when you go out of the room, there's like a big black wall. And on the wall, I think it was like in silver or in gold, was the Book of Kells. So you kind of have to walk straight and then you make a right. And then you go downstairs to an empty room that just has the glass case in the middle of it with the two pages that are out. And, as Amanda shared, you're not allowed to take a picture. But I wanted to take a picture of the wall. I just wanted the wall as you're going in. So that's what I was taking a picture of, maybe or maybe not. I'm taking the Fifth Amendment on this one. When I got yelled at, I was so annoyed. I'm like, dude, I'm not even in the room yet. But
Yeah,
I guess that to say is, they don't want obviously, this is such an old manuscript. They want to do everything they can to protect it. And so they're very on guard about pictures.
for sure. And, I may or may not have found that out. And, I guess we'll never know.
But I just think, when we talk about bookish adventures and we talk about our experiences with books and how they make us feel, one of the things I really appreciated about the Book of Kells, it was just the quality. I think we've talked about this before, but how some of the older works, that they're still around, the colors and the paper, and it just makes you wonder, how can they have done that so long ago and we still have access to this amazing piece of work, that it has lasted as long as it has.
It's mind blowing to me. I know we don't have pictures of that exact book, but as we're talking here, I did pull up some of my Ireland pictures, and I was like, I know I took pictures of something. So I do have pictures of books that are similar, that have that type of illuminated illustrations around the words and the calligraphy and things like that. And found, I guess it's gold leaf is probably, it's, I know I compared it to the gel pens before, but I guess it's gold leaf is probably more realistically what that is. Just the amount of care and detail and time. We live in a world where now we can tell an app, okay, give me a picture of whatever. And 20 seconds later, we'll get a picture of whatever we asked the app to give us. And this is something that took people probably days to produce, a corner of a page, not even a whole page, just looking at the detail that goes into the calligraphy and the gold leaf and the layers of color and how each page was produced, level of quality for it to last this long, it's just mind blowing.
And it
So
kind of
it's
reminds me a little bit, Amanda, of some of the pictures you shared when you were at the JP Morgan Library in New York
mhm,
City, like the Bible that you showed and some of the other pictures. It gives a very similar type of ornate vibe. Not exact, because that was a lot of
right.
gems and stuff like that, but just the idea and the color and the artwork kind of reminds me a little bit of that.
Oh, for sure. And it's amazing that, you know, that a human being sat and produced this. And I guess several human beings did, according to the research that we did here. And then it's still there. And is available for us to appreciate and study and just look at, what do these symbols mean, what is the meaning behind them to these people, whether it's the culture, the religion, the time period, everything is there for a reason. There wasn't something that just ended up there because, like, well, putting this there looks nice. Like, I was reading when I had got the coloring book, like sometimes they had said, okay, well, the snake represents this or the bird represents this, and telling you what each symbol means that was on the page, and the amount of thought that went into it is just incredible.
It really is. And so, those of you that are on YouTube have been seeing pictures of all the things that Amanda and I talk about, and it's amazing. But once you finish looking at the physical Book of Kells, you're in the room with the mean security guard, and and you
Hmm.
finish, you kind of keep walking around the room, and there's a staircase. And you take the staircase up, and that leads you to the long room. And when I was there, Amanda, they were in the process of refurbishing the bookshelves. So a lot of the books that were on the bottom there, it's like it's two levels of bookshelves. And so a lot of the books that were on the bottom levels weren't there because they were in the middle of refurbishing and updating some of the bookshelves, making sure, the quality is still there and they're, going to last and stuff like that. So I didn't really get to see the books on the bottom level, but around the books, they had these busts of these famous scholars and writers and thinkers. So all around the room were representations of generations of writers and thoughtful historians and such, which was really cool to see. But the ceiling was just like, I don't know. It was incredible. It's all wood and it's carved beams, and it's called the long room because it's very, very long. And even though I didn't get to see a lot of the books, just the room itself, I was just awe-inspired by it.
Oh, definitely. Okay. So, I guess I'm lucky. I did not have to worry about refurbishing when I was there. I got to see what it looked like. So, for people who are listening, if you think about Beauty and the Beast, right, Disney movie, and you think about what that library looked like, where it's like wall to wall, floor to ceiling books, that's what the long room feels like. It's amazing. So, yes, there are busts of philosophers and, you know, um, poets and authors and writers and, great people throughout history. But I mean, just amazing, just floor to ceiling books. It's just mind blowing, and that's what it felt like. You're just in this massive, just swallowed by this massive library. It's just so cool, and it is beautiful. Like, the woodwork and everything is gorgeous. But just looking at just how many books and how old they are, they're clearly aged, many of them. um it's just incredible to see how it's held up, how that room has held up through time as well.
It really has. And it's interesting, to think that, when the long room was first created, it had a very flat, typical, plaster ceiling. And there was really only shelving available for one level. So for one level of books. So it was very, nothing exciting about it. It did have the open gallery like it does now, but everything else was just kind of, I don't know, a library, nothing that you would think excited. But in the 1850s, it came completely filled. There was no room to put any more books. And the library, which was really interesting, and I didn't know if you knew this, I when I was doing some research, I found that in 1801 the library was given the right to claim a free copy of every book that was published in Britain and Ireland. And I believe
Wow.
I think Oxford Library, is it Oxford Library has something that's similar where I think they're trying to get a copy of all the books from around the world, but they get a free copy of every book. So because now they're getting inundated in all these books from Great Britain and from Ireland, in 1860, they actually raised the roof, which allowed for the construction of what is now a barrel type vaulted ceiling, I guess is how you could describe it. And with the vaulted ceiling and the beams that we have now, that allowed them to create that second layer of books. And now, as we shared earlier, it holds over 200,000 books. So I thought it was interesting that, instead of creating another library or making two libraries, that they added on and made the incredible architectural visual that you see when you go into the long room to fit more books. So I thought that was kind of cool.
And every book lover everywhere is very jealous. So, God, it is very beautiful.
It is. And I definitely, again, as I was doing, my vacation trip, it was just one of those things that I had to go. I had to see.
Of course.
And yeah, and I'm really glad I did. And I would definitely recommend, if you find yourself heading over to Ireland, if you're going to be in Dublin, take a time, get some tickets ahead of time, go see the Book of Kells, go see the long library, because it's one of those, once in a lifetime experiences I don't think you want to miss.
I fully agree. I made jokes with the people that I went with. I was like, okay, got to see the Book of Kells. My life has been changed. And I think for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can see Shannon and I have included pictures of some of the other things we went to see. The Cliffs of Moher and so forth, which were also beautiful. There's lots to see and experience in Ireland, but definitely make sure you make room for the long room.
And I am just so glad. Man, this was such a cool episode. I'm so glad that it's our first one that we got to kind of do together. We've
Yeah,
been somewhere together. So, and we'd love to hear from our listeners. Have you gone to the Trinity Library? Have you got to stay at the Trinity College like Amanda did, or a tourist like I was? We would love to hear your experiences from your visit to the Trinity Library.
we definitely would love to hear from you. And next week, Shannon is going to be sharing her trip back in time when she lived and partied like a character in a Baroque novel. So
Oh,
I'm
I
looking
can't.
forward to hearing that.
I can't wait to share all about that. And that's all we're going to say. What's all we're going to say about it. You're going to have to tune in for next week to kind of see, what are we talking about? I don't even know. Don't even know.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to the pictures.
So good. You probably have seen
Yes.
some of them on
Oh, I
Facebook.
have.
You have, but yeah, I'm
I
looking forward
have.
to
I just want everyone else to be excited about them. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being part of our podcast. We look forward to connecting with you each week. And as always, we invite you to join us on our social media pages, as well as to like and subscribe to us on YouTube, as well as your favorite podcast platforms. And you can find all of the information in our link tree.
And don't forget, this week we would love to hear your bookish adventures. Have you been to the Trinity Library? Have you seen the Book of Kells? We would love to hear your story. So please either fill out the form in our link tree or email us your adventures at awobapodcast@gmail.com for a chance to have them shared on one of our future episodes.
Until next time, read more books.
And then go explore.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.